For 300 years, the galaxy laughed at humanity. Every alien race believed humans were weak. They saw Earth as a small world filled with emotional people who fought each other over land, money, and politics. Compared to the great star empires, humanity looked primitive. The Galactic Union often joked about humans during meetings. They still use old-style missiles. They argue more than they think. They will never survive a real galactic war. Human diplomats heard those words many times, but they never argued back. They only smiled quietly and returned home. That silence made the galaxy believe humans were afraid, but Earth was never afraid. Earth was preparing. Far beyond Mars, near the edge of the solar system, a giant defense station floated silently in darkness. Its metal surface looked dead and abandoned. No lights, no signals, no movement. Then suddenly, red warning lights turned on across the station. A cold computer voice echoed through empty halls. Unknown fleet detected. Size, extreme. Origin, Krevok Empire. Inside the command room, old machines slowly came alive. Dust fell from giant screens as sleeping systems awakened after many years. One human officer stared at the radar display with wide eyes. Thousands of enemy ships, maybe. Where the Kravoks had arrived on Earth, people were still living normal lives. Children walked too. School-crowded streets glowed. With city lights, air traffic moved peacefully between giant towers. Nobody knew death was moving toward them through space. Inside the United Earth Defense Command, deep below Geneva, alarms exploded across every screen. Military officers rushed through the underground halls. Large holograms showed the incoming enemy fleet. Admiral Nathan Cole stood silently in the center of the command room. His face showed no fear, but his eyes were serious. "The numbers?" he asked calmly. A young officer swallowed nervously. "Over 12,000 warships confirmed, sir." The room became silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The Kravoks were not coming to negotiate. They were coming to erase humanity. The Kravok Empire was feared across the galaxy. They destroyed civilizations for resources and enslaved weaker races without mercy. Entire planets had burned under their attacks. Nobody stopped them because nobody could. The Galactic Union tried diplomacy many times. It always failed. Now the Kravoks had chosen Earth. 1 hour later, every screen across the galaxy showed the same broadcast. The Kravok leader appeared. He was massive, covered in dark armor, with glowing red eyes and scarred gray skin. Behind him stood burning ruins of conquered worlds. His voice sounded like thunder. "People of Earth," he said, "you exist because stronger races allowed it. Your species is weak. Your military is outdated. Your world has value, but humanity does not." Millions watched in silence. The Kravok leader leaned closer toward the camera. "Surrender peacefully, and your extinction will be painless." Across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched Earth carefully. Some felt pity for humans. Others laughed openly. Even news channels mocked humanity. "Earth will surrender within hours. The humans cannot fight the Kravoks. This may be the shortest war in galactic history." But inside Earth's underground command center, nobody panicked. Admiral Cole looked at the transmission for several seconds, then he spoke quietly. "Send the response." The communication officer hesitated. "Sir, only that sentence?" Cole nodded. "Yes." Seconds later, humanity's answer reached every screen in the galaxy. Only 7 words appeared. "You should not have come here." For a moment, the galaxy became silent. Then, laughter exploded across alien networks. The Kravok commanders laughed. Galactic reporters laughed. Even some humans felt fear after hearing Earth's response. The Kravok leader smiled coldly. "Then humanity chooses death." The transmission ended. At once, the Kravok fleet entered the solar system. Thousands of black warships moved like a storm through space. Giant carriers blocked entire stars. Heavy battle cruisers surrounded. Smaller attack ships, their engines burned red. Across the darkness, Mars Defense Command attempted contact first. Then Mars went silent. No signals. No survivors. Panic spread across human colonies. Families rushed into shelters. Emergency sirens screamed. Across cities on Earth, for the first time in centuries, humanity prepared for full war. Yet something strange happened. Earth's military fleets did not move. Only a few small defense ships appeared near the moon. Alien observers watching from nearby systems became confused. Is this humanity's defense? They truly are weak. The war is already over. But deep under Earth's oceans, hidden doors slowly opened. Inside mountains, giant machines awakened. Beneath frozen Antarctica, ancient reactors began glowing blue. For hundreds of years, humanity had secretly built things the galaxy never imagined, things hidden from every alien scanner, things even most humans did not know existed. In a classified bunker beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Cole entered a dark control room guarded by armed soldiers. A single screen waited in the center. An old man appeared on the display. His white hair and tired face showed many years of secrets. Authorization? The old man asked. Cole looked directly into the camera. Authorization code, Ragnarok. The old man closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he nodded slowly. So, it is finally time. All across Earth, hidden systems activated. Ancient factories deep underground roared back to life. Missile silos rose from oceans. Secret satellites powered on above the planet. And far away, hidden beneath the surface of the moon, something massive began to move. Meanwhile, the Kravok fleet continued toward Earth without fear. Their commanders discussed how to divide humanity's resources after victory. None of them noticed strange energy signals rising from the... Not until it was too late. Suddenly, giant cracks spread across the lunar surface. Alien cameras focused on the moon in confusion. Then the impossible happened. The moon opened. Massive metal doors split apart across its surface. Thousands of hidden human warships slowly rose from inside the moon itself. Dark gray ships, huge weapons, engines glowing blue like fire. An entire hidden fleet. Every alien watching the live broadcast became silent, and for the first time in galactic history, the Kravoks stopped laughing. Silence spread across the galaxy. Every news channel, military station, and civilian screen showed the same image, the moon opening like a giant machine. Thousands of hidden warships rose slowly from inside it. The ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were dark, heavy, and built without beauty. Alien ships often looked smooth and elegant, but human ships looked dangerous. Thick armor covered their bodies. Giant weapon cannons rotated across their sides. Blue engine fire burned behind them like glowing storms. The Kravok commanders stared in shock. How did we not detect this? One officer whispered. The Kravok leader growled angrily from his flagship. Impossible. Humans do not possess technology on this scale. But humanity did, and they had hidden it for centuries. Inside Earth Defense Command, Admiral Nathan Cole finally allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 is complete, he said quietly. Around him, officers moved quickly between stations. Nobody celebrated yet. The real battle had not started. Above Earth, the hidden human fleet spread across space in perfect formation. At the center stood the largest ship of all, the HDS Titan, a massive command battleship nearly 15 kilometers long. Captain Elias Ward stood on its bridge, watching the enemy fleet through the main screen. He was calm, even while thousands of enemy ships filled space before him. A young officer beside him looked nervous. Sir, the Kravoks still outnumber us 3-1. Elias nodded slowly. They think numbers matter. Then he looked toward the moon fleet. Open all channels. Seconds later, his voice echoed across every human ship. For 300 years, they mocked us. His words were calm but strong. They called humanity weak. Crew members across the fleet listened silently. They believed our silence was fear. Elias looked directly at the massive enemy fleet ahead. Today they learned the truth. At once, thousands of human warships accelerated forward. The battle began. The Kravoks fired first. Red plasma beams exploded across space, powerful enough to destroy cities. Entire lines of human ships vanished inside bright fire. Alien reporters immediately shouted across broadcasts. The human fleet is collapsing already. But then the smoke cleared. The human ships were still moving. Their armor had survived. Shock spread through alien military observers. Kravok plasma weapons could melt most known materials instantly. Yet the human ships continued forward with only minor damage. On the bridge of the Titan, Elias gave a simple order. Return fire. Human weapons activated. But there were no plasma beams, no lasers. Instead, giant magnetic cannons fired metal projectiles at impossible speed. The galaxy watched in confusion. Primitive weapons? Then the first Kravok cruiser exploded. A solid metal strike pierced directly through its shield's armor and reactor in less than a second. The ship disappeared in white fire. Then another exploded. And another. Panic spread across the Kravok fleet. They're using kinetic weapons. That technology is ancient. But our shields are failing. Human engineers had discovered something terrifying long ago. Advanced alien shields stopped heat and energy very well. But physical impact at extreme speed was much harder to stop. Humanity never abandoned old weapon ideas. They improved them. Massively. Near Jupiter, hidden satellites awakened quietly as the battle continued. Deep underground on Earth, ancient reactors pushed more power into secret defense systems. Humanity was slowly revealing its true strength, but only a small part of it. On the Kravok flagship, the alien warlord slammed his fist against a control screen. How are humans doing this? Nobody answered, because nobody understood. Then something even worse happened. Entire Kravok ships began disappearing from radar without explosions. One moment they existed, the next moment they were gone. Fear spread through enemy crews. What is happening? Where are the attacks coming from? Elias watched calmly from the Titan. Activate stealth squadrons. Far behind enemy lines, invisible human warships appeared from darkness. For years, humanity had secretly developed light-bending stealth systems. Their hidden attack ships moved silently between enemy formations. Before the Kravoks could react, human bombers fired directly into their engines and reactors. The enemy fleet fell into chaos. Across the galaxy, alien governments watched with growing fear. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had been hiding. Inside the Galactic Union Senate, emergency meetings exploded into panic. One senator spoke nervously. How long has Earth possessed this military power? Another answered quietly. Maybe longer than we know. Back in battle, the Kravoks finally realized the truth. Earth had prepared for this war long before it started. Then alarms suddenly echoed across every ship in the solar system. Human, alien, even civilian ships detected it. A massive energy signal near Jupiter. Everyone turned toward deep space. Something enormous was moving inside the darkness near the giant planet. Slowly, a gigantic shadow emerged. It was bigger than cities. Bigger than fleets, covered in ancient metal and glowing blue lines. Even Captain Elias looked serious now. One officer stared at the screen in disbelief. Sir, what is that? Elias answered quietly. That is humanity's real warning. The giant object near Jupiter moved slowly through darkness. Every sensor in the solar system locked onto it. For a moment, even the battle stopped. Human ships pulled back. Kravok warships froze in formation. Nobody understood what they were seeing. The object was enormous. Its metal surface stretched across hundreds of kilometers. Blue energy lines glowed across its body like rivers of light. Massive rings rotated around its center, each one larger than entire cities. It did not look like a normal ship. It looked ancient, like a machine built for only one purpose: destruction. On the bridge of the HDS Titan, Captain Elias Ward watched silently as the massive structure awakened. The young officer beside him spoke carefully. Sir, is that one of ours? Elias answered without taking his eyes off the screen. Yes, the officer swallowed nervously. How long has Earth had something like this? Elias finally looked at him. Since before you were born. Across the galaxy, panic spread quickly. Alien news stations replayed the image again and again. Galactic senators argued loudly during emergency meetings. Nobody could believe humanity had hidden such a weapon for centuries. Inside the Kravok flagship, the warlord's face twisted with anger. Scan that structure. His officers worked quickly. Then one of them looked up in fear. We cannot fully scan it. Why? The energy output is too high. Silence filled the bridge. The giant machine continued moving slowly near Jupiter, surrounded by storms and lightning from the gas giant below. Then a name appeared across every human military screen. Atlas. The old weapon had awakened. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, hidden command centers became active. Old military officers entered rooms nobody had opened in decades. Ancient computers lit up one by one. Humanity's deepest secret was no longer hidden. Long ago, after first contact with alien races, Earth realized something dangerous. Humanity would never be respected. The galaxy only respected power. So while aliens laughed at humans, Earth secretly built weapons in silence. Atlas was the greatest of them all, a machine designed during humanity's darkest years. A weapon built not for war, but for survival. Back near Jupiter, the rotating rings around Atlas began glowing brighter. Energy waves spread across space. Every nearby ship shook violently. Kravok officers stared at their failing systems. Our shields are unstable. Engines losing power. What is this thing doing? Nobody answered. Because nobody knew. On Earth, civilians watched the battle from giant city screens. Fear slowly turned into hope. For the first time, humanity was fighting back, and winning. Inside the Titan, Admiral Cole appeared on Elias's screen through secure communication. Status report. Elias crossed his arms. The Kravok fleet is disorganized, but they're preparing reinforcements. Cole nodded once. We expected that. Then his face became serious. Atlas is almost ready. Elias looked toward Jupiter again. Are we truly using it? We don't have a choice. The communication ended. Meanwhile, deep in space beyond the solar system, more enemy fleets were arriving. The Kravok Empire had finally understood the danger. This was no small species defending itself. Humanity had become something unexpected, something terrifying. Back near Mars, hidden human stealth ships attacked supply lines while moon fleets pushed the enemy backward. Every minute, more Kravok ships exploded across space. But the enemy numbers kept growing. Then suddenly Atlas moved. The giant machine slowly turned toward the main Kravok fleet. Massive rings spun faster and faster around its center. Blue light became blinding. Space itself seemed to shake. Even human ships moved away carefully. One Kravok officer screamed in panic. Energy levels are beyond calculation. The warlord roared angrily. Attack it now. Hundreds of enemy warships fired together. Red plasma storms crossed space and smashed directly into Atlas. The galaxy watched the explosions carefully. Then the smoke disappeared. Atlas had not moved. Not even slightly. Its shields absorbed everything. Fear finally entered the Kravok warlord's eyes. Then Atlas fired. There was no giant explosion. No loud sound. Only silence. A single blue wave spread across space. Beautiful. Calm. Deadly. The wave touched the front line of the Kravok fleet. And instantly, entire warships vanished. Not destroyed. Gone. Cruisers. Carriers. Battleships. Thousands disappeared within seconds like dust blown away by wind. The galaxy stared in horror. Nobody had ever seen power like this before. Inside the Galactic Union Senate, one alien leader whispered quietly, "Humanity could have conquered us all." Back near Jupiter, the remaining Kravok ships retreated in panic. Their formations collapsed completely. For the first time in their history, the Kravoks were afraid. But on the bridge of the Titan, Elias did not celebrate. Because another alarm suddenly appeared across every screen. Unknown signal detected. Origin outside the galaxy. The room became silent. A cold feeling spread through Elias's chest. Then an ancient voice echoed through every communication system in the solar system. We have awakened. The message repeated slowly. We have awakened. Even Admiral Cole looked pale now. One officer whispered nervously, "Who are they?" But Elias already feared the answer. Because Atlas had not only destroyed fleets, it had announced humanity's existence to something sleeping in the darkness beyond the stars. And now, that thing was coming. The message echoed through every ship in the solar system. We have awakened. Cold silence followed. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the surviving Kravok ships stopped retreating. Their crews listened in fear as the unknown signal repeated again and again. Far beyond Pluto, deep space scanners suddenly detected movement. Massive movement. Human officers stared at the incoming data with pale faces. Thousands of objects were entering the galaxy. No warp gates, no hyperspace tunnels. They were simply appearing from darkness itself. Inside Earth Defense Command, Admiral Nathan Cole looked at the reports quietly. Then he spoke one sentence nobody wanted to hear. "It's them." A young officer turned toward him. "Sir, you know who they are?" Cole remained silent for several seconds. Finally, he nodded slowly. The Varex Empire. Fear spread across the command room. Most humans had never heard that name before, but older military leaders knew. Long ago, humanity discovered ancient alien ruins hidden beneath Antarctica. The ruins spoke about a civilization older than the Galactic Union itself, a civilization so powerful that entire galaxies feared them. The Varex. According to the ruins, they disappeared thousands of years ago after destroying countless star systems. Everyone believed they were extinct. Now they were coming back, and Atlas had awakened them. Near Jupiter, giant black ships slowly emerged from empty space. Their design looked strange and unnatural. The ships had no smooth lines or glowing lights. They looked like giant moving shadows. Even stars behind them seemed darker. One Varex ship alone was larger than the Kravok flagship. Then another appeared, and another. Soon, an entire dark fleet covered space near the edge of the solar system. For the first time in history, the Kravoks looked small. On the bridge of the Titan, Captain Elias Ward stared at the giant enemy fleet. One officer whispered nervously, "They make the Kravoks look weak." Elias did not answer, because he knew it was true. Suddenly, every communication screen activated by itself. A figure appeared, tall, thin, covered in black armor that looked alive. Its glowing white eyes stared directly into the cameras. The Varex leader spoke, calmly, "Humanity." Its voice sounded cold and ancient. "You were supposed to remain primitive. Across Earth." Billions watched in silence. The Varex leader continued, "Your species was monitored for centuries. You were emotional, violent, unstable." The creature leaned closer. "But now you possess weapons capable of threatening galactic balance." Inside the Galactic Union Senate, alien leaders watched nervously. The Varex voice became darker. "Humanity must not continue to exist." Fear spread instantly across Earth. Children cried inside shelters. Families watched emergency broadcasts together. Even experienced soldiers felt fear. For the first time, the Varex were not like the Kravoks. The Kravoks wanted conquest, the Varex wanted extinction, complete extinction, but Captain Elias remained calm. "Open a channel," he ordered. Seconds later, humanity's signal connected directly to the Varex fleet. Elias stepped forward. "This is Captain Elias Ward of Earth Defense Fleet." The Varex leader stared silently. Elias crossed his arms. "You entered our system without permission." Some officers looked shocked hearing him speak this way, but Elias continued, calmly, "Leave now." The bridge became silent. Then the Varex leader slowly tilted its head, almost curious. "You speak boldly for a dying species," Elias answered immediately. "You said the same thing about humanity centuries ago." The connection ended. Moments later, alarms screamed across every human station. The Varex fleet was moving fast, much faster than Kravok ships. Their black warships crossed space like shadows as giant weapons charged with dark energy. Human fleets quickly formed defensive lines around Earth. Atlas rotated near Jupiter, preparing another attack. But before it could fire, a Varex beam struck it first. The Galaxy watched in horror as Atlas's shields exploded in blue fire. The giant machine shook violently. One hit, only one hit, and Atlas had taken serious damage. Inside the Titan, officers panicked. They pierced Atlas' shields. That should be impossible. Elias narrowed his eyes. The Varex were stronger than anything humanity had ever faced. Then worse news arrived. Deep space scanners detected more Varex fleets entering the galaxy. "Not thousands, millions, Admiral." Cole appeared again on Elias's screen. His face looked older. "Now, we cannot win a direct war against numbers like that." Elias looked toward Earth on the main screen. "So what's the plan?" Cole hesitated. Then he spoke quietly. "Project Helios." Several officers froze after hearing those words. Elias stared at him carefully. "Are we really going that far?" Cole nodded slowly. "We have no choice anymore." The communication ended. Meanwhile, the Varex fleet approached Earth rapidly. Entire human battle groups opened fire, filling space with missiles and kinetic strikes. But the Varex ships kept moving forward. Cold, silent, unstoppable. Then suddenly, every starship sensor detected something strange. The sun was changing. Its color slowly shifted from yellow to deep, burning gold. Energy levels rose higher and higher every second. Across the solar system, people looked toward the sky in fear. Even the Varex fleet slowed down. Captain Elias watched the glowing sun carefully. Then he whispered quietly. "They activated it." One officer looked confused. "Activated what?" Elias kept staring at the star. Humanity's oldest secret was finally waking up. And this time, even the stars themselves would become weapons. The sun burned brighter every second. Its golden light spread across the solar system like fire flowing through space. Even ships near Pluto detected massive energy changes. Panic spread through every fleet. Human, alien, Krevok. Varex. Nobody understood what humanity had done. Inside Earth Defense Command, warning alarms screamed across every level of the underground facility. Engineers rushed between control stations while giant reactors shook beneath the complex. Admiral Nathan Cole stood silently before a massive screen showing the sun. One scientist looked terrified. Energy output is exceeding all safety limits. Another officer turned toward Cole. "If Helios fails..." He never finished the sentence, because everyone already knew. If Project Helios lost control, the solar system itself could die. Far above Earth, Captain Elias Ward watched the burning star from the bridge of the Titan. The young officer beside him whispered nervously, "Sir, what exactly is Helios?" Elias remained silent for a moment. Then he answered quietly, "Humanity's final defense." Years ago, while alien races mocked human science, Earth secretly studied stars themselves. Humanity discovered ways to control solar energy using hidden stations, buried deep inside the sun's outer layers. It was dangerous, insane. Many scientists called it impossible. So humanity built it anyway. Now those hidden solar stations were activating together for the first time in history. Across the sun's surface, giant rings of fire slowly appeared. The star looked alive. The Varex fleet immediately detected the danger. Their leader appeared once more on communication screens. Its white glowing eyes narrowed slightly. "You are destabilizing your own star," Elias answered calmly. "You came to the wrong system." Then the transmission ended. Seconds later, Helios activated fully. The sun exploded with golden light. A massive wave of solar energy burst outward across space. The nearest Varex ships vanished instantly, not damaged, not destroyed, completely erased. The shockwave moved like a wall of living fire. Entire fleets disappeared inside the burning light before they could escape. Even human ships pulled back quickly to safe positions. Across Earth, billions watched the sky glow brighter than ever before. Children stood beside windows. Families prayed quietly. For the first time in history, humanity was using the power of a star as a weapon. Near Mars, several Krevok commanders tried fleeing the solar system. The solar wave caught them seconds later. Their giant warships melted into white ash. Inside the Galactic Union Senate, complete panic erupted. One alien senator shouted, "Humans are insane." Another answered in fear, "No, they were prepared." For centuries, humanity secretly planned for the worst possible future, and now the galaxy was finally seeing why. Near Jupiter, damaged sections of Atlas slowly repaired themselves while moon fleets regrouped around Earth. But despite heavy losses, the Varex were still advancing. Their numbers seemed endless. Millions of black ships continued entering the galaxy from deep space. The Varex leader appeared again. This time its voice sounded colder. "You endanger all life with these weapons." Admiral Cole responded directly from Earth. "You came here to erase us." The creature stared silently. Cole's eyes hardened. "We simply chose survival." Then Earth launched its next attack. Hidden stations across the solar system powered on together. Mercury, Europa, Titan, asteroid belts. Entire secret defense networks revealed themselves at once. Humanity had turned their entire solar system into a fortress. Thousands of hidden cannons opened fire. Missiles filled space like storms. Stealth fleets attacked from darkness. Even Varex ships finally began falling in large numbers. The galaxy watched in complete shock. Earth was not just a planet, it was a trap built over hundreds of years. Inside the Titan, Elias studied incoming reports carefully. "We're slowing them down," an officer said, "but not stopping them." Elias nodded quietly. He already knew. No matter how powerful Helios was, the Varex numbers were too great. Then another message arrived from Earth. Priority Omega. Only High Command could access it. Elias opened the file. His face changed instantly after reading it. The young officer noticed immediately. "Sir, what happened?" Elias looked toward Earth on the screen. For the first time during the war, fear appeared in his eyes. "The Varex have deployed planet killers." Silence filled the bridge. Massive weapons capable of destroying entire worlds were now approaching the solar system. Even Helios might not stop all of them. If one reached Earth, billions would die. Suddenly, emergency broadcasts spread across every communication channel in the galaxy. Humanity was transmitting a message to every species. Alien worlds stopped to listen. Captain Elias spoke calmly through the broadcast. "To all civilizations," his tired voice echoed through countless systems, "leave the battlefield immediately." Behind him, the burning sun glowed brighter and brighter. Elias continued quietly. "What happens next will change the galaxy forever." Then the transmission ended, and deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden doors slowly opened around something humanity swore never to use. The final weapon. Across the galaxy, ships began retreating. Civilian transports fled through jump gates. Alien fleets escaped the solar system as fast as possible. Even surviving Kravok warships abandoned the battlefield without orders. Fear had taken control. Humanity was preparing something terrible. Near Earth, the Varex fleet continued moving forward through burning space. Millions of black warships surrounded the solar system like a dark ocean, but the Varex leader no longer looked calm. For the first time, uncertainty appeared in its glowing eyes. Because humanity had survived everything so far. Inside the underground command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Nathan Cole walked slowly through a long metal hallway guarded by soldiers. At the end waited a giant vault door. Ancient symbols covered its surface. One scientist spoke nervously beside him. "Sir, once we activate Eden Shield, there may be no turning back." Cole nodded quietly. "I know." The scientist hesitated. "We still don't fully understand what it can do." Cole stopped before the giant door. "That's exactly why we built it. For centuries, humanity created weapons to survive stronger races. Atlas was built to destroy fleets. Helios was built to control stars. But Eden Shield was different. It was never designed to kill. It was designed to save humanity if the entire galaxy turned against them. And now that day had come. Above Earth, Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Titan as massive Varex fleets closed in. "Enemy planet killers approaching firing range," an officer warned. Large black spheres appeared across space. Each one carried enough power to shatter planets apart. Elias looked toward Earth below, blue oceans, bright cities, billions of lives, his home. Then he gave the order, "Activate Eden Shield." Deep beneath Earth, the giant vault slowly opened. A bright white light filled the underground chamber. Ancient machines awakened one by one. Massive energy waves spread through the planet's core. Across Earth, people suddenly saw glowing lines appear across the ground beneath cities, oceans, and mountains. The entire planet began shining softly. Then space itself changed. A massive sphere of white energy expanded outward from Earth. The Eden Shield had awakened. The Varex immediately opened fire. Planet killers launched dark energy beams directly toward Earth. Galaxy watched in horror. The beams struck the shield and disappeared, not blocked, not reflected, erased completely. Shock spread across every battlefield. The Eden Shield continued expanding wider and wider until it surrounded the entire solar system. Inside the Varex flagship, warning alarms screamed loudly. "Our weapons are failing. Energy systems collapsing. Unknown interference spreading." For the first time in thousands of years, the Varex fleet began losing control, but humanity was not attacking them. That was the terrifying part. Eden's shield was not a weapon of destruction. It was rewriting space itself. Inside the Titan, officers stared at their screens in disbelief. It's disabling all hostile systems. No. More than that, another officer whispered. It's adapting to every attack. Instantly, Captain. Elias slowly understood the truth. Humanity's final weapon was not built from hate. It was built from survival. Every war, every invasion, every year humanity suffered under. Stronger races had taught them one lesson. Violence alone would never save them forever. So they created something smarter. Something that protected life instead of ending it. The Varex leader appeared on screen again, but this time its voice carried fear. What have you done? Admiral Cole answered calmly from Earth. We evolved. Then the impossible happened. The Eden shield reached the outer Varex fleets. Their ships suddenly powered down one after another. Weapons shut off. Engines failed. Dark energy systems collapsed. Completely. Millions of warships became silent. Metal drifting through space. No. Explosions, no mass death. Humanity had defeated the greatest empire in existence without destroying them. Silence spread across the galaxy. Even alien governments could not understand what they were seeing. Humanity possessed the power to wipe out civilizations, but instead, they chose mercy near Earth. The Varex flagship drifted helplessly as its systems died. The Varex leader stared at Earth for a long moment, then it spoke. Quietly. We judged your species. Incorrectly, Elias answered firmly. Yes, you did. Moments later, the remaining Varex fleets began retreating from the galaxy. The war was over. Across Earth, people celebrated in streets, shelters, and cities. Soldiers embraced each other. Families cried with relief. Humanity had survived, but something else had changed forever too. The galaxy no longer saw humans as weak. Years later, children across alien worlds studied the story of Earth in schools. They learned how humanity was mocked for centuries, how they hid their strength, how they survived impossible wars, and how they became the protectors of the galaxy instead of its conquerors. Humanity earned a new name among the stars, the Guardians. But deep beneath Earth, far below oceans and mountains, one final hidden chamber still remained sealed. Inside it rested another machine. Silent. Sleeping. Waiting. Just in case the galaxy ever forgot humanity again.